Welcome to year 2 of A Mick, a Mook, and a Mike. Hosted by 4-time Emmy-nominated producer Frank Bates and retired New York City firefighter, 9/11 first responder, and Vietnam vet, Billy O'Connor.
The year in review with Joe West, plus our annual tribute to Jay Thomas and David Letterman.
Merry Christmas, my brother. why are you, ho, 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 why are you in such a jovial mood?
Frank, life is a Cheribolis. That's why I'm just a happy guy.
Cheribolis.
Cheribolis.
Yeah. Well, I come out of the kitchen and I said to my wife, I said, I really can't think of anything to get you for Christmas. It's been 40 years. That's 40 Mother's Days, 40 birthdays. We're on like 160 gifts. I don't know what to get you. She goes, why don't you get me a car? I said, Karen, I've got 3 payments left on the last one. She says, I need something bigger. Now, that's something you and I maybe have heard in the past, but I need a bigger car because the kids are getting larger and we don't have any room in the car. So I'm getting her a car.
Get a new car for Christmas.
For Christmas.
I love it. You really are Santa Claus.
Yeah, I really am, aren't I?
There is a Santa Claus, Virginia. There is a Santa Claus.
I really is.
I tell you, I was so distraught when my parents told me that there was no Santa Claus. Like, I was so disillusioned. And I got right into my car and I drove to a pub and got drunk. Now, my wife, let me tell you what my Christmas is going to be. My wife, I told you, since we were on a sailboat, the 30-foot boat went down by the water. She's bouncing around. She's like a young kid. She's putting up sails. She fell off the boat the other day and broke 2 ribs.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, while I'm walking around, I'm thinking to myself, if I break a hip, the ball game's over. I got one hand on this. I got one hand here. I'm walking like she broke 2. Unbelievable.
Well, she's feeling good.
She was.
Now she'll have to self-medicate.
Yeah, that's another thing. She ain't taking no more drugs. She kicked them. She's down to like 20 milligram of Valium, but she wants to get off of them. So now I got her on Jameson's. But she can't drink, so Jameson's tears her up. She's only 110 pounds or 150, but she can't drink.
Yeah.
Me, I used to spill more than she drinks.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to try Derek, my pharmacist. Derek Harris suggested I try lion's mane for my memory. Lion's mane? Mushrooms?
Let me hook you up with Crazy Steve.
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
Now, lion's mane is not marijuana based, correct?
No, there's no. It's only nootropic. There is no psychedelic natures.
It's only what? Nootropic?
Nootropic?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Nootropic. What does that mean? Tropical?
It basically means that if it positively affects your brain function.
Okay.
So.
Positive. Well, that's good.
I'm for that.
We're all for that.
How do we get that?
Yeah.
So what do you want to eat?
Lion's mane mushrooms.
Lion's mane mushrooms. There's actually a regimen for it.
Mushrooms.
Yeah. But
mushrooms is good, Frank.
But Billy, you partake in the magic mushrooms.
Yes, I do.
Yes, psilocybin, right?
Yes,
whatever it is.
Purely for research. In case I write a book about it someday.
Well, it's that's good for your memory too. But I know Frank's not going to do anything with that. So
what? I'm going to use lion's mane.
Yeah, lion's mane's good.
Now, is it really a lion's mane, or what are we talking here? Is it?
That's the brand.
No. Lion's mane is a type of mushroom.
Oh. What brand?
Well, the brand would be Paul Stamen's brand. I don't remember the name of it.
Paul Stamens?
Yeah, Stamens. He's like the
interesting name. Stamen for a mushroom, huh?
Stamens.
Okay.
Mets.
Okay.
But lion's mane, it's named lion's mane because it looks like the way it grows in nature, it looks like the mane of a lion.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
interesting.
So you guys should both be taking that.
So
It's like the old joke, the lion, the MGM. Remember the MGM lion?
Yeah.
Was the MGM lion? The guy, that's the old joke. The guy says, I got this job with MGM. The guy says, that's terrific. What do you do? He says, every now and then when the lion gets some shit stuck in his ass, I got to put my hand up there and I pull the shit out. The guy says, wow, that's disgusting. He goes, you get paid a lot of money? He goes, no, it pays like shit. He goes, you pay nothing. So he goes, well, why don't you quit? He goes, what, quit show business?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an old joke.
It's an old joke. It should stay old.
Stay old. Yeah.
I was just reading that in the LA Times recently that the stand-up comedy is dying because of the cancel culture. Do you think that's true?
Hell no.
I don't know. I think right now, from what I can see, stand-up comedy is going through a bit of a resurgence. It seems like it's coming back. But the cancel culture thing, especially in colleges, I know you can't play colleges now unless you're super clean and super inoffensive, Right. So in other words,
well, who the hell wants that?
I don't know.
I want my comedy to be offensive.
That's a great point because there was a place I used to play all the time called a Speakeasy. And I used to be there every Thursday night for about 3 years. And of course, since I was on the menu, on the venue, the host would always say, all right, we can do clean or we can do dirty. What do you want to hear tonight? And every freaking night, people would say dirty, always, like overwhelming. So, other than the old deal, don't tell a joke unless it could be told on television, if you want to make it.
Yeah.
I still think if you're big, if you're big enough to fill up a theater.
Funny's funny.
Funny's funny.
Well, you have to be big enough to fill up a theater because you have to do off-color jokes because if you didn't, nobody would come.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
I mean, even Seinfeld, who's on a national tour, is going to start a national tour. I think he's going to be some off-color, don't you? I don't know. I've never seen his stand-up, but
I don't think you can do comedy if you circle it around being inoffensive. You know what I mean? I certainly. I used to say anything I wanted. What the hell was that guy's name? It was a guy who used to be on Saturday Night Live, and I opened for him one night, and I said,
"What you're itching your back on TV and you're talking?"
Well, I got an itch. I didn't get my wife a car for Christmas, but I don't have anybody who scratches my back but me, Frank. But yeah, so what the hell was his name? I just had the tip of my tongue there. Anyway, the guy used to be on Saturday Night Live, and I said to him before I opened for him, I said,
Norm Macdonald?
No, it wasn't anybody.
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, right.
No, it wasn't anybody that big.
It's fair.
Anyway, whatever. You'd recognize his name if I said it, just that I'm having a senior moment. But anyway, I said to him, I'm going to open for him. So I be courteous enough, and I says, you want me to be clean? You want me to be dirty? He goes, oh, Billy, do whatever you want. You want to be dirty? No. So I start going up there, and I said, oh, cool. I start to about 10 minutes into him. He's behind the crowd. He's going like...
Well, but before we go to Joe West, who will be joining us today, it's time for our annual tribute to my friend Jay Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take a little bit of a detour today because I'm still going to show, we'll still show the Letterman clip, but we want to show the Letterman clip whereby Jay, well, you'll see what happens at the end. So can you roll this, Derek?
Women in uniform stationed overseas once again this year for the holidays. Well, a beloved tradition at the Late Show is our annual Holiday Quarterback Challenge, and for the ninth year running, please welcome a funny man and the host of his own Sirius satellite radio program, Jay Thomas. Jay, come on out here.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Good. Happy holidays. Good. Good to see you. Good. Thank you very much. Wow, thank you.
9 years in a row you've come out here and you've stopped the show by knocking the meatball off the tree.
I know, I'm nervous.
Yeah, but you're very good at it. Did you warm up? Do you practice before you come in?
I actually have Christmas trees in my backyard with meatballs.
But the neighbors like that.
I've been doing it so long that all three of my boys are here tonight. 2 are old enough to be in the audience. And the young one, who's been coming here since he was 4, is not old enough yet because of the dirty talk you do. He's not old enough to be... I'm not kidding. There's an age limit for some
What is
content.
it, 16, I think it's
Content for content. And I understand. And so, but they can watch it in the green room, which I don't understand.
Well, they can watch
it at home. Show or watch it at home.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Not out there.
That's
where
right. Yeah.
something bad is happening.
That's what goes on
like
during the
groping
commercial.
or something in between. So he is back there.
What's his name?
Jake is his name.
Good.
He says that you have too many sweets, and he would like to see more salty snacks.
Okay.
And that's how long he's been coming. He knows the cookies, and
He's tired of the cookies.
and they're cheap also. They're like, and not that it's as bad, but they're Costco, my friend.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
It's not bad.
We pass the savings on to
You do. That's right. So.
Now, this story, the Lone Ranger story, and God bless you, because I bet you're probably tired of telling it year in and year out.
I am tired.
But it's probably the single best talk show story I've heard in my life. Don't you think it's pretty good?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You want to hear it right now?
Let's go.
We'll do the story.
All
right.
It's a true story.
Would you like to hear a story of the Lone Ranger?
This is 2009. 2009.
When I was a young disc jockey, I would open up car dealerships, and I would do the remote, which you did too as a DJ and as a weatherman and all that.
Let's go to Jay Thomas.
Come on out to the Dodge dealer. It was Dodge. And so the Lone Ranger, Clayton Moore, was working for that company, and he would come to the various dealerships, and little kids would come.
This is the guy who played the Lone Ranger.
The real Lone Ranger.
Right.
And he was very much into being the Lone Ranger. He wore the outfit, he wore the mask, he had the guns, he had the hat, and he was into being the Lone Ranger. So I get there, and I'm telling people to come out, and the Lone Ranger is there, and it's not a high point in my career. I don't know where my life is going. I have a long, frizzy hair, and I'm a disc jockey, and my buddy Mike Martin, who was in the record business and who looked sort of like a Bay City roller. He had the long hair and the stacked heels and tight pants, and he would come.
See, now that's a new point. I haven't heard that.
You know, I was just realizing that
you never described him as a Bay City roller.
he looked like a Bay City roller, and he would do like this with his hair all the time, right? Yeah. So he would come, and we would get herbed up during the performance, which.
So it's nice that your boys are here for that.
Yeah. Well, his son called him and says, "Dad, you smoked pot?" And so we would go behind the dumpster, I'd do it at the end of the performance. I didn't want to, ruin the car sales. And so we got completely loaded, and we come out, and no one was there to pick up the Lone Ranger to take him back to the Red Carpet Inn on Moorhead Street. So he looked very uncomfortable. I had an old beat-up Volvo. And I said, well, Mr. Moore, can I give you a ride home? He says, well, sure. So we get the
Lone Ranger suit.
We get him in the backseat of the Volvo. Mike and I, we can barely see the road. We get onto the thing, and we're driving like this in the Lone Ranger. We're being really quiet. The Lone Ranger is in the backseat. Mike's, doing like this, checking his hair. And we're trying not to look stoned is the other thing we're trying to do. So we get in 5 o'clock traffic, and some guy is upset that we're on this Independence Boulevard. He's upset that it's all jammed. He backs, and it's a Buick, and it's a middle-aged man. I'll never forget him. And he backs into my car, and I can hear my headlight crunch.
Oh, no.
And he pulls out, and he turns off like this. Well, I go, that guy crashed into me. So I get in the Volvo, and I gun the thing, and we're chasing the guy through Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Lone Ranger's in the back seat, emotionless, just in the back seat like this, back and forth, and the mask and the whole thing. So I'm in the Volvo, and so finally I gun it, and it gets right in front of the Buick, and I pull off, and Mike and I jump out, and I go, man, you crashed into my car. And he gets out. He says, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. You backed into me, and you broke my car. And he says, well, what do you want? I said, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the cops. He says, oh, really? Well, who do you think they're going to believe? You two hippie freaks or me? And the Lone Ranger gets out from the Volvo. They'll believe me, citizen. And the guy goes, I didn't know it was you. And that's the true story. There you go. I never get tired of the Lone Ranger. Don't believe me.
keep going. It keeps going. Derek's gonna keep going.
Now, we're going to show folks a montage of your great skill.
First of all, I'm watching CBS football, and you ran the promo in the middle of the NFL football thing. That's the highlight of my life.
Oh, good.
Okay,
Good.
that's the highlight of my life. You know,
We're going to show it now. This is Jay in action for the last
Here we go.
9 years. Take a look at this. You'll be amazed at the room. Look at this. 1998. Bingo, right off the tree. Boom, 99. Here we go, 2000. Oh, right on the money. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, look at that. There we had it. Wow. Girls 2003. This is 2004. Oh, I got it. I believe I got it one year. There's Jay going again. Beautiful. This is just tremendous. And here we go. You ready to try it?
Sure.
Oh, my God. They'll believe me. They'll believe me. Wow, look at this.
Give it a throw?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a try. Go ahead. You hit it. You hit it.
Oh, Dave.
Jay Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great holiday. Good to see you. Good shot. I'll bet to your son. We'll be right back with Kate Blanchett, everybody.
That's great, man.
That's
You'll
great.
Never forget him.
I'll never forget him. He was such a great guy. He in the prime of his life right there. I think that was 2006. I said it was 2009, but it went on yearly until 2015. That 15, 16, that was the last time Letterman show was on. But Jay did it every year. Every year he'd come on, try to knock the meatball off, followed by Darlene Love singing "I'll Be Home for Christmas."
Yeah, that
or,
was an annual.
or something like that. So I miss him, but he was a great guy. Great guy.
It's hard not to smile when you hear that. Darlene
Yeah,
Love and I look back at that memory.
I smiled when he just walked out on stage. I just smiled and I said, "Wow, he's prime of life." Great guy.
You know, it was one of my favorite movies that he was in, Mr. Holland's Opus.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved that movie. I thought it was a terrific movie.
I did
thought
love that
Dreyfus
movie.
was great. You know, it was just a
Yep.
good movie.
Yep. Well, can we get Joe West on?
We're gonna go way out west.
Way out west. Nobody calls it way out west but Billy, but we're going to go way out west.
Well, we're gonna go way out west.
Way out west. All right. Derek, can you bring on Joe West, please?
That's a hell of a segue.
Hey, Joe West,
There he
how
is.
are you? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
It's
Christmas,
great to
Joe.
see you guys.
Merry Christmas,
How
pal.
many times have you played Santa Claus in your life?
I don't think but once.
What,
And the kids could tell that my beard wasn't good, so they ran me off.
that's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
But you know what? I had this old friend. His name was Tom Carmody, and he was an actual Santa Claus in the malls. And in fact, on his car, it said, "My other vehicle is a sleigh." And he was a school teacher. He was the coach of the golf team, but he looked and dressed just like Santa Claus when it come to the winter. And he lived in Denver, and he was quite the person. I mean, he was a member of there's a Santa Claus club, and he was like one of the officers of it nationwide. And so Rita has a grandniece who's got a kid with Down syndrome. And because the kid had Down syndrome, the other little girl, who was a year and a half older or 2 years older, told her mother, said, "Well, it's really sad. We won't be able to go see Santa Claus at the mall this year." So I called Tom, and he put him on a Zoom call, and you'd have thought he gave him the moon. It was so precious. And of course, the first time I told her that I knew Santa Claus, I picked up my phone and I showed her that I had Santa Claus in there, and it was Tom's number, but all she saw was Santa Claus. So I said, "Let's call him," because it was Christmas Eve. And So of course he answers, says, I'm out busy delivering presents, but I'll call you back tomorrow when I'm finished. Right. So she went and grabbed her parents and says, we got to go. He's already on the way.
That's great.
But he passed away this year. He was such a wonderful, wonderful person. He called a lot of the umpires' kids and wished them a Merry Christmas. He was just a great old guy.
Yeah.
And we used to leave him tickets in Denver because he lived in Denver. So he walked out to home plate one day, and I forget who brought the lineup cards out, but I said, did you see Santa Claus in the stands? And he says, what are you talking about? I said, we left tickets for Santa Claus. You know, kind of like these people would leave tickets for Elvis. We left tickets for Santa Claus. And he looked up, and of course, he stood up and waved, and he couldn't wait to run back to the dugout and tell everybody it was a Santa Claus.
Did you ever leave tickets for Elvis?
No, I never left tickets for Elvis.
You know, he's alive.
Yeah, of course. What was that thing in the Men in Black? He just went home or something.
Yeah.
I think that was the line in the movie. He just went home.
Well, we're talking about the year in review. Billy, how'd your cryptocurrency do this year?
Yeah. It sank with all the other cryptos. Another get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah.
I always feel like the honeymooners, you know. They say, get the bag, and get the bag. I'm left you my fortune.
Yeah, you figure how could something go wrong so wrong based on investing in nothing at all? But Joe, you had a cryptocurrency story, didn't you?
Well, yeah, they put that FTX logo on the umpires' uniforms.
Wow.
And they were supposed to give each umpire $1,000 in cryptocurrency. And Rita said it's the greatest thing that ever happened to you that you're not computer savvy. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, by the time you could figure out that you could move that cryptocurrency, you couldn't get online to do it. So I actually called FTX and told them that I can't get online. I don't know how to operate this system. And they put some techie guy on, and he couldn't do it either. So I said, just send me the $1,000 you owe me. And they did. Wow. They sent me $1,000. Well, everybody else's currency had gone down 40% by the time that I had looked into it. So Rita swears it's the greatest thing that ever happened to you was that you did not know how to do that stuff on the computer.
Well, you know, you talk about umpires' deals. I believe in the early 80s or so, the umpires had a deal with Pony Shoes.
Yes, we did.
Because my friend Carl Rule, who we've talked about often talked about Richie Phillips. I made a deal with Richie Phillips. And then all the umpires, and Carl was a smart guy because he knew if he got the umpires in the shoes, they would get great visibility. He also got the football referees in Pony Shoes. So we were in Pony Shoes for quite a while, I think. Weren't you, Joe?
Yeah, we wore Pony Shoes for a few years, but I remember the one time that Richie Phillips, he was our negotiating attorney. He went to Nike. What was the guy's name in Oregon? Knight something.
Yeah, Phil Knight. Phil Knight.
He said, well, if you'll give the union $50,000, we'll wear your shoe. And he said, what if I give you $50,000 not to wear
them? That's pretty funny. Joe, do you own any shirts at all that don't have logos on them?
No, all my shirts are free.
All right, so that brings up another question. Why do umpires wear pleated pants?
I think it's to give them more room in the crotch for getting up and down. I remember every pair that I ever had to have tailored, I had to increase the girth of them because you get up and down, and especially when you work home plate, you have to have the extra room. So they give you the pleats in the front to give you that extra room. Yeah,
Billy never needed never needed extra girth.
I never needed a pouch. You guys should wear kilts.
You're so bad.
Be a little flair, you know, especially out here on the coast, you know. Have a little flair. Wear kilts.
What else do you want to talk about, guys?
I tell you, we had a guy in a firehouse, Bobby the Beef.
Of course.
Bobby the Beef. Bobby the Beef was our Santa Claus, and he was obviously a heavy guy, and he was our Santa Claus every year. And his brother was Patty the Pork.
Are you serious?
Heavy guy, dead serious. Bobby the Beef. Very famous dispatcher in the Bronx. Tree Trio. Dispatcher Tree Trio.
And what made him so famous?
Tree Trio. Every time you called in, it was like Dispatcher Tree Trio.
Oh, his
moniker.
His moniker, his language?
Tree Trio, yeah. Bobby the Beef. He was off, of course, in the firehouse, the same thing. All the kids come in and you have to bring in a gift, not more than $25. They swap it the whole deal. But
Joe, what do you
well,
think?
You guys are so bad talking about the wardrobe and stuff. You heard about the two little high school girls that found the guy wearing a kilt sleep hung over under a tree, right? You know that story, right?
I have a feeling we're about to hear it.
Yeah. So the guy was hung over and he was drunk and he's under the tree and he's got a kilt. And the two little girls looked at each other and says, I always wondered what they wore underneath it. And so, of course, they looked up underneath it and they got the giggles and everything. And then, so they left. So when the guy woke up, he knew something was funny and he reached down below his kilt and he realized somebody had tied a blue ribbon around his private part. And he says, I don't know where you have been, laddie, but I sure am glad you took first place.
I had a Scottish bartender. I used to ask him, what's the Scotsman got under his kilt? The Loch Ness Monster, Billy. The Loch Ness Monster.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. So, Joe, what do you think about all the money they're paying these ball players these days?
Well, I've got to think that's coming from the gambling money. Because and I know you talk to John Boggs every now and then, he said the winter meetings this year is the most amazing thing he's ever seen, the way they're throwing around money. And they're throwing it around to people that aren't as deserving as some of these people. I mean, I can imagine what the old-time ball players are saying right now. I live too soon, but I think a lot of this money's coming from the gambling that nobody's monitoring. Baseball is getting like 1% of all the money gambled in Vegas, and they have deals with Caesars and all these other casinos. And I think that's where the money's coming from. I can't be for sure, but I would have to say, baseball's gone through a lot of things with Congress where they were dealing with them on a monopoly, and they had hearings for 2 days, and not one time did they bring up the licensing money. And so they make all this money in licensing that nobody counts. And now they're making money that nobody's monitoring on gambling. I mean, they kicked Pete Rose out of baseball for gambling, and they probably should have kicked him out for gambling. But now they've embraced the idea of gambling on baseball, and they have these DraftKings things, and they have all this stuff where they have marketed themselves into making money on people who gamble on baseball. And that's kind of counterproductive when you're trying to keep everything above board. But I think that's where the money's coming from. I don't believe that they've had some windfall with the television people to gain that much leverage to where they can pay these people this kind of money.
Well, I can tell you, Joe, when you said 1%, that's when I was bookmaking, we'd have about, say, 350, 400 customers throughout the year. And come baseball season, it would drop to about 18 diehard gamblers. Like everybody bets football. Come baseball, it would drop down. But we had read, we wrote a book, Lamar's Gamble, about corruption and gambling and everything in the NFL. We had read that this new gambling czar in the NFL, they're going to make more money in the NFL from gambling than they are from television.
Yeah, I was just going to say the NFL has gotten a czar of gambling on staff. And it's probably now one or two guys. But I would imagine baseball quietly has followed in their footsteps, and they have a gambling czar.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, why would you? I mean, and I understand it's a business, but it should be an above board business when you're talking about things like that. I mean, where are the books on how much they're getting on gambling? Who's documenting that? Who's the accountant? Who's watching this? And I mean, even when Bud Selig was commissioner, he told Congress that he would welcome a controlled audit of baseball's books. And course, the senator from Texas said that's exactly what we don't want is a controlled audit. But yeah, there's plenty of money there. I mean, why else would ball clubs be selling for over $1 billion? You know, and I mean, the small market teams are worth over $1 billion today.
I believe the Angels are for sale. I believe they're going to sell for $3-4 billion. That's massive amounts of money, a massive amount of money. But on another subject, do you guys have a favorite Christmas movie? Not all at once.
What's the one where Jimmy Stewart plays?
It's a Wonderful
Life.
Everybody loves that one. It's a Wonderful Life.
I think that's a good one, and I love the one where the city sued Santa Claus, and the postal department brought all the letters before
Miracle
the judge.
on 34th Street.
Yeah,
The Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life is a Frank Capra film, and he did everything. He did his super Americana. That's a great film.
You know, Frank Capra's career was pretty much over by the time he was 40. I never realized that. He was a great director, but by the time he was 40, 45, he couldn't get a film made. And
that's amazing to me. Some of his films are like legendary.
Yeah, I got
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah, I got a picture in my office of Capra, Cagney, Darryl F. Zanuck, and Jack Warner having lunch at the Warner Brother Commissary. It's a great picture. I love that. I love that picture. But my favorite Christmas story is A Christmas Story. The movie with Darren McGavin, Ralphie the little kid with the lamp, with the leg lamp. It was narrated by Gene Shepard, who was a boyhood favorite of mine. He was a monologist. Is that the right word? And every night he would come on WOR and tells these stories. He has a great story about Bobo Newsom throwing a no-hitter. But if you ever get a chance to listen to an old Gene Shepard, Jean Shepard monologue, you won't be sorry. And I think now A Christmas Story is being remade by the son. Ralphie's now grown up, and he's playing the part.
That was Darren McGavin, right?
Darren. Yeah, I said. Do you listen to me?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Do you listen to me at all?
Just reiterating, Darren McGavin. for the parts of our audience that weren't listening.
No, he's not. He's not listening, Frank. He's not.
I know. Derek says he checks out every time we have a black guest. So I looked at his eyeballs and I think he was checking out then as well.
What was the other movie that was Home Alone?
Yeah, Home Alone was a Christmas movie.
That's another Christmas movie that was hilarious, and that kid was amazing because I don't think, what was he, 8 or 9 years old? I don't even think he was 9 years old.
Yep.
And it was hilarious, and of course, Joe Pesci's hilarious anyway.
Pesci's funny.
Derek, do you know? Well, what's your opinion, Derek? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes, I think so.
Why?
Because it's made during Christmas time. And there's a Christmas theme running about. So I think so. That would be my favorite Christmas movie.
Die Hard? Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Something Billy hopes to do.
Die Hard. I told a girl once that I said, if I die tomorrow, I said, I had a great run. I mean, I got no regrets. She goes, you're so full of shit. She goes, when they're in the hole, you'll be crawling on the side of it. Just give me 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Totally. She's right too.
Yeah.
What else?
I think A Christmas Carol is my favorite. The old Alistair Sim, Charles Dickens, traditional one. But are there no workhouses? Are there no prisons? What are these children? Humbug.
How about Christmas songs?
The one that got me when I was in Vietnam? I used to play it all the time, man, because Christmas time come along. Of course, you're real nostalgic for Christmas. You're only 19, 20 years old.
Blue Christmas?
I'll Be Home for Christmas, Bing Crosby. I'd play that over with a bottle of scotch and just look at it, feel sorry for myself, and keep playing it. I'll Be Home for Christmas. And then, of course, when I was home for Christmas, my old man was there, so that was the end of Christmas.
What'd your old man say when you were 4?
Oh, yeah. He said, now, He says, cop on to yourself early. He goes, you're 4 years old. There's no Santa Claus or any of that other American bullshit. I'm taking you up to the store. You buy one toy, and that's Christmas. And Merry Christmas. I said, okay, Pop.
How about you, Joe? Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Well, I guess it's the White Christmas. I mean, I don't know that everybody got to view White Christmases in their lifetime, and especially the people in Florida or down south. But I can remember growing up in eastern North Carolina, and whenever it would snow, they'd build snowmen everywhere, and just I'm dreaming of a White Christmas. That's just, it was just like one of those things that you look back on and say, well, what a great Christmas. That may be the most played Christmas song ever, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think
it is for sure.
I think White Christmas is, yeah.
That obviously is not Derek's favorite Christmas song. What's your favorite Christmas song, Derek?
Black Christmas.
No, seriously.
I don't have actually, Christmas is not it's not something I really spend too much time on as an adult. I don't remember. Christmas was great as a kid, but I don't have any particularly warm thoughts and connectivity to Christmas.
Well, on that note,
there are no workhouses? There are no prisons? Why are these children running along the streets?
But I was trying to look. I was looking at the top Christmas songs of all time on Billboard.
I like Blue Christmas. You know,
Elvis.
We did a show, Dice Clay one year. The only Christmas show we did with Dice on Bless This House, and Dice sang. He did an Elvis impersonation of Blue Christmas, and he did it to Kathy Moriarty. It was so touching, and it was warm, and it was wonderful. It was a nice Christmas memory for me.
Andrew Dice Clay being warm and wonderful, huh?
Yeah, well, he really was warm and wonderful in real life. He still is, I would imagine.
Let me give you guys just a quick list of the top Billboard Christmas songs. So number 1 is Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You. Number 2,
Santa Baby. Where's Santa Baby?
It's not there yet. So that was 1994. Number 2 song is Darlene Love. You guys know the song?
Oh, of course. We just mentioned it. What song is it?
He's not listening to you either.
What song was it?
It's Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, 1963.
Yeah, well, that was Darlene Love was on with Jay Thomas on the Letterman show.
Letterman. Oh, every year.
Yep.
Okay, number 3 is Nat King Cole. The Christmas song.
Okay.
Merry Christmas to You, 1961. So that's 2 songs from the 60s that are in Billboard Top 10. Wham.
Wham what?
Wham
Wham
is
what?
the group, and the song is Last Christmas, 1984.
Oh yeah, Last Christmas.
Last Christmas.
Wham, really? Yeah, there's a certain recency bias to this, but go ahead.
No, this is the actual Billboard chart.
Wow.
So
yeah, well, all the people who bought White Christmas are dead.
Hold on.
Except for Joe.
Hold on. All right, so the next one is Bing Crosby.
White Christmas. Thank you.
1947. Holy shit. The next one is Brenda Lee.
Ooh.
You guys know this one?
I do know it, but remind me.
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Oh, okay.
1958. That's number 6.
Where's Jingle Bell Rock?
No. Oh, you guys are going to love this one, especially Billy. This is number 7. Jose Feliciano.
Oh.
Do you know what song that is?
Feliz Navidad.
Damn, Frank is quick.
Feliz Navidad. Yeah.
Well, he's the only one that knows Spanish.
Okay, and the next one, you'll never get this one, is Run DMC.
Oh, I have no idea.
Exactly. Joe, you have any idea?
No.
I can't believe this is in the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. Recency bias.
Christmas in Hollis, 1987.
Yeah, well, Christmas at Hollis for your ass.
You
Next, what's number 8?
We had a guest from Hollis. You remember who that was?
A guest? Where's Hollis?
Hollis, Queens.
Hollis, Queens?
It was actually a part of the show.
Mark Blatt?
No. Maybe he's from Hollis too, but more recent.
Just tell us. We're never going to guess.
I don't remember his name. I thought you would remember his name.
Okay, next.
Number 9, Bruce Springsteen.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Very good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Springsteen has a new song out. It's an old song which was written by Mark Blatt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the Four Top song. What was the name of the song?
Don't know, but let's look it up.
It's Four Top song. Was written by Mark Blatt. I can't remember. I can't think of. Well,
No, it's okay. It's okay.
where's Jingle Bell Rock and where is
Hold on. It's
Santa
not,
Baby?
Not in the top 10.
My two favorite are Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt and what was the other one?
My two favorites, and I love these songs.
I already forgot it.
Joe,
Santa Claus is coming to town.
okay, number 10 is Donny Hathaway.
Okay,
This Christmas, 1970.
this Christmas.
And we'll go one more and see if we capture yours. Nope. Oh, but this is you still Vince Guaraldi Trio. You know who that is?
No,
Christmas Time Is Here, 1965. All right, that's it.
no. All right.
You know, you left out two big ones too. I mean, well, actually three, because Boxcar Willie had a song called "I Want a Hee Haw Honey" or a Playboy Bunny under my Christmas tree.
Yeah, we definitely left that one out.
There's something wrong with this list, you know. And then
I
you
can think
left
of a
out
few things.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Of
which-
course.
Yeah.
Where's Rudolph the Red?
Autry,
Gene
man.
Autry.
Gene Autry, that was
Yeah.
the number one seller
Forever.
forever. I think it might be one of the biggest selling records of all time, I thought.
And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is an annual Christmas classic on CBS.
Oh, yeah.
Every year is in the top 10, and it was made in like 1961 or so.
Yeah, but how about Autry's favorite story about Christmas was he was the grand marshal in a Christmas parade. And he's, of course, he's riding on his horse, champion, and all the adults are waving, "Hey, Gene, how you doing? Great. Good to see you, Gene." And he'd take his hat off and tip his hat. And he said, but the most amazing thing about riding in that Christmas parade that was behind him on a fire truck was Santa Claus. And all the little kids would pull at their parents' pants and skirts and say, "Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus." And so he wrote the song, "Here Comes Santa Claus," riding in that Christmas parade.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
And so, I mean, that's a unique story about an
Yeah.
old cowboy. I thought that was really neat. But I can't believe that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer didn't make the list.
No. Well, I used to
Billboard.
see Gene Autry anytime I went to lunch over at Lakeside Country Club. Lakeside Country Club is right across the street from the studio. And Steve Papazian, my friend, is a member there. George Lopez is a member there. Stallone was a member there. And Gene Autry was a member there. And he was always at the same corner table having lunch every day at the Lakeside Country Club. It was a good time. A lot of good memories.
He owned the,
Yeah,
did he own the Angels?
Yeah, he owned the Angels. They were always
Yeah,
trying to win one for the Cowboy. They never did.
Yeah, that was one of the most famous things in their trophy case is his Stetson sitting in there.
Yep.
They have a trophy case right there behind home plate at the gift shop, and his white Stetson sitting in there to this day. And I can remember talking to Jackie, his wife, and she said, "I used to tell him, you've got to develop players. You can't just buy a team. You've got to have a minor league team." She was tough on him. And she actually was an executive with Major League Baseball after Gene passed away.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yep, I did know that. I think that the '82 Angels were probably the greatest hitting team I've ever seen. They had four most valuable players. They had Fred Lynn, Don Baylor, Reggie Jackson, and Rod Carew. They had one fellow, that Bobby Grich at second base, who maybe a borderline Hall of Famer, and Bob Boone behind the plate was a borderline Hall of Famer. And then the outfield, they had Brian Dowling, and they were stacked. They got ahead 2 games in the best of 5 playoff series, and then they went and lost all 3 to Milwaukee, to Robin Yount's Milwaukee team. But they just sort of lacked pitching, and you can only win so many games with you can only score 9 runs so many times in a game. Sometimes you catch up to good pitching will beat good hitting every day. Would you agree?
Well, the only team I ever saw that didn't have any pitching and won consistently every year was the Big Red Machine in the middle '70s, and they only won twice. So, you had they might have had the best 8 players I ever saw on one team, and not all of them were power hitters. Of course, Carew wasn't a power hitter with your Angel team that you're talking about, but they were something else. The catcher's in the Hall of Fame, the first baseman's in the Hall of Fame, the second baseman's in the Hall of Fame. The shortstop should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's not there. And the left fielder got 120 RBIs every year he played with them.
Yep, George Foster. George Foster.
And the right fielder was Ken Griffey Sr.
And the center fielder was Bobby Tolan.
No, the center fielder was Geronimo.
Geronimo and Tolan. But you mentioned 76 and 77, the 2 years they won. I attribute that to Doug Flynn. Because
Joe laughed.
That's a good story. You need to tell that about what he tells Johnny Bench every time.
Johnny's a great friend and a loyal friend to both Doug and myself. But Doug says, Johnny always talks about the Big Red Machine, the Big Red Machine, the Big Red Machine. And Doug stops him. And he says, Johnny, let me ask you, what 2 years did you win the World Series? He says, well, 1976 and 1977, or 1975, whatever 2 years. And he says, well, what year did I get there? And Johnny says, well, 1976. And he says, well, what year did I leave? And Doug says, 1978. So what 2 years did you win? 1977, 1976, and 1977. There you go. You couldn't have won it without me. But then when anybody says gives Doug any shit about how many, he was a notoriously weak hitter, Johnny will always jump to his defense, and he asks the guy, well, how many home runs did you hit? Because Doug hit 5 home runs. They said, how many home runs did you hit? And Doug had a long career in the major leagues, won a Golden Gloves with the Mets after he was traded for Tom Seaver in the New York Massacre, it was called. But he's a good guy also.
When we had Doug on the show,
Yeah.
the thing that sticks out in my mind was when he said, okay, granted, I played with these 8 guys, and the 8 guys were pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that.
But he was the glue.
He was the glue.
Doug the glue.
I want to just did you want to say something?
No.
Yeah, I just want to throw in one more thing because I think it'll be interesting for people. These are the top 10 Christmas movies, and I'd like for you guys to see if I'd like to know if you guys have actually seen them. Okay, so this movie was in 1944. It's called Meet Me in St. Louis.
Yes.
Okay.
We saw it.
And this is according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Judy Garland was in it.
Judy Garland.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is the Shop Around the Corner. 1940. Who's in this synopsis?
That's a foreign film, isn't it?
Clara Novak.
Foreign to me.
Listen.
No. Next.
Okay. Oh no, it's Margaret Sullivan and James Stewart.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'll give it a hit.
All right. Number 3, Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes, of course.
1947, of course. Tangerine. 2015.
No.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. The Jingle Bell Rock was the other song I was thinking of.
I think that was in the top 20. Klaus. Or
Klaus.
Santa Claus.
No, I want to see Jay Thomas's movie, Christmas.
Okay.
Santa Claus.
That's number 5.
Santa Claus 2, 3, and 4. I think Jay Thomas was on all 3 of those.
Interesting.
He played the Easter Bunny, by the way.
So It's a Wonderful Life is not the top movie here that doesn't
No.
come in for a while?
There's a bullshit list. It's a bullshit list.
Okay. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I believe we've seen that.
So what do you think? It's a good movie or not?
It's a good movie. It's not a
Not a top 10.
It's it's a top 10, but it's not above whatever Billy said.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah.
Okay, Little Women 2019. Die Hard is number 8.
Yeah.
Carol, which is 2015. I'm sure you haven't seen it. It's a Wonderful Life is number 10.
Oh, where's Elf?
You know what? You're right.
I know where. So admit it. I want you to repeat after me. This is a bullshit list. Say it, Derek. Repeat after me.
I'm sorry.
This is a bullshit
I'm
list.
currently having problems with my. But
Well,
I agree with you. It's a bullshit.
It's
list
a bullshit list.
Without
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's not even in the top 10 actually.
Yeah, but
I've never even heard of Klaus.
but Klaus is.
It's Klaus.
Klaus.
I'm thinking of Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, maybe Claus. See,
Yeah, Elf is number 25.
it's crazy. So, anything else you got, Joe?
Well, I was trying to think of the movie where the guy had his nice watch that had been passed down through his parents, and his wife had this beautiful long hair, and he sold the watch to buy her some kind of thing for her hair for Christmas, and she cut her hair and sold it so she could buy something for the watch. I can't remember the name of the movie.
That's an O. Henry short story. O. Henry wrote that short story.
It could have been, but I
It's
mean,
not Rapunzel.
No, it's oh, what the hell's the name of that short story? It's a great story. You're absolutely right. Like they love each other so much, and they got no money, and he buys the thing for her hair, and she sells her hair to buy him a gift for the watch chain for the as your father, as they used to call it, the pocket watches.
right.
You know.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the movie, but that was a very touchy. I think the thing about Christmas that we all forget is it's a time for family to get together, and it's unique in that it brings families together, even when they've had problems and fights and this, that, and the other, and squabbles over this. And of course, that's what families do. But I think that Christmas is a time when everybody gets together and has, a warm feeling about what family's all about. And I think it's a good thing. So
that's the gift of the Magi. The gift of the Magi. That's the name of that O. Henry short story. That's
Gift of the Magi.
Yeah, I think that's the story you're talking about.
Okay.
The gift of the Magi.
But you bring up a good point, Joe. It's a time where everybody should put aside all their political differences and all this bullshit that's going on in the world, and just be happy for family and what we all were given. And I'm thankful for Joe West and Billy O'Connor and Derek Harris.
Why'd you pause right before you?
Because I was thinking of something wise to say.
What you say, Derek Harris.
I didn't think it would be appropriate because I'm being so solemn. But great to have you, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, have a great Christmas.
Have a great Christmas. Love to Rita. And all the best to you. We'll see you in the new year.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Man. To all whom you love, have a good Merry Christmas, pal. The best.
You too. Thank you.
So
it is a time to really thank. They talk about Thanksgiving and all that, another American holiday.
Sure.
Contrived or not, but Christmas is a time to really count your blessings, man, and say, you got a roof over your head, you got a warm bed to sleep in, you got something to eat,
Yep. And to, people of all ages and sexes and races and creeds and everybody else, have a happy holiday. We got one more show to do on the next Wednesday. That'll have Stephen Lang, the star of Avatar.
Wow.
The movie that's being talked about as saving show business. He'll be an interesting guest for sure.
Oh man, that's terrific. That the reviews have been that great. So he's such a sweetheart of a guy, Stephen. Really nice.
Yep.
You think you got some back end on this one?
What? No.
No.
He got no. He didn't. He didn't get any back end. He got plenty of front end.
Oh, that's good. That's good too.
He got plenty. He got all of his on the front end.
Okay.
Derek was telling me that Cameron, was it George Cameron?
James
Cameron. He was a truck driver.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was a truck driver.
Derek said he was a truck driver.
Well,
Teamster. Hey, I like him already. He was a Teamster.
Well, save it for your intro for next week.
And talk about races and creeds and everything else. There's only one race. That's the human race. And we're all grateful to be part of it, I hope.
Well said, my friend. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. Happy Hanukkah.
The whole deal.
Everything. Be well.
Peace, brothers.
Peace.
Next week's guest, star of Avatar, The Way of Water, Stephen Lang. next week.